Might as well chat about a few things while we enjoy the rest of this lovely hike here today. I started doing a kind of a bit on the YouTube channel called Deep Thoughts with Pat. If you're not aware, my name is Pat. And I will wander. You've seen my wander imperative today. Some might call it compulsion. Look where it gets me. Deep Thoughts with Pat. I was starting on another episode and I realized that it was too long, but we might as well poke away at it. I like this little spot here. So I was watching a podcast and also the green on that tree, those trees. On the podcast, they had one of the leading genetic experts in the US, and they were talking about cloning and the various prospects that cloning is going to present us. So what struck me as they were talking about this was that it's absolutely imperative that we oh my god, give me 1 sec. A little more of the Deep Thoughts with Pat. When we start cloning people to the point where we can recreate ourselves almost exactly or exactly, it's going to be imperative that we identify the clone as a clone, because there are going to be all kinds of legal, moral, ethical circumstances that arise when we do this, if they haven't already done it and just not made the public aware of it. But when it becomes an aspect of the human condition that we're able to duplicate ourselves in clone form, do we own the clone? Because it's, it's supposed to be a human being, right? Or is it a human being? There's the movie Blade Runner is based on the Philip K. Dick novel, Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep? In that novel, there's an incredible scene where a police officer and two people, all of whom regard themselves as you and I would, as, born and raised human beings, they all regard themselves that way, get into an altercation, and in the altercation, it involves this legal, moral, ethical scenario I'm describing, where this sort of real human, if you will, has a different set of parameters. I've lost the trail, but that's no big deal. Has a different set of parameters applied than a clone would. So in the novel, it doesn't happen in the movie, or either one of the movies. But in the novel, I don't feel like going straight down there. There's a gentler route we're gonna take. All three of them are required to go down to some sort of central processing police-like area and have it determined who, in fact, is the human being amongst them, and then proceed from there. That is the trail. We're going down here. I thought there was another way around. So I don't know if we, within the genetic stream of the clone, you put some kind of brand on it, or is it an it, or is it a person, right? Will a person be able to, should a person be able to decide whether or not they can be cloned? Because I'm sure there are some people, for various reasons, will want that, where they don't want themselves duplicated this way for any reason. Religious, just find it gross, creepy, whatever. So will they have the right to do that? In the cloning process, let's say someone for some reason clones themselves 6 times, example. Does the first iteration of the clone have different societal, moral, legal, or any other weight than the later clones? Clone 1 is more important to the world than clone 5, for example. Or is that even how it works? And then you get the scenario where, you know, it's a wedding anniversary or something is happening with a couple, and one partner thinks it would be a wonderful surprise to surprise the other partner on their anniversary or their birthday or a significant date with an exact duplicate clone of themselves, their partner, right? So for example, imagine the scene where wifey, mummy, girlfriend, boyfriend comes home from work and the partner says, close your eyes, puts their hands over their eyes gently and guides them into the bedroom, for example, and says, okay, dear, open your eyes. And there's an exact duplicate of their partner laying on the bed. There were 6 of them, right? So these scenarios all become considerations. Another possible scenario is, can a parent or partner impose non-cloning restrictions on their partner and their relationship? Yeah. At what age is it legally acceptable to be cloned? You know, how old does the person legally have to be in order to do this? I'm gonna say legally adult, you would assume, right? What are the consequences for cloning another person without their knowledge, or even against their will? The 2040 version of revenge porn, right? Yeah, well, I made a clone of you, so we're not even really broken up, type of thing. Of course, this fly has to bother me, but some good visuals. Ooh. Speaking of visuals, we're not done yet. Fly's gonna be done ASAP. And we won't be cloning him. Deep thoughts with Pat as we walked. I thought I would share my thoughts on cloning. Been fascinated, semi-obsessed-ish with Blade Runner since I first saw it so many years ago. It could be a photo, but I want to keep the sweat going, so we're going to carry on. And there are many of the circumstances surrounding cloning have crossed my mind over the years. If you're not aware, in the first Blade Runner movie, the clones are human beings for all intents and purposes, but the genetic engineers that make them, they're referred to as replicants in the film, and they're all gifted with a 4-year lifespan. None of them, under any circumstances, live past 4 years. And they're also illegal on Earth because, as humans tend to do when placed in overly exploitative circumstances for too long, they rebelled and uprose. So, one moment. How ethical would it be to create a clone or several clones for the specific purpose of harvesting the organs from the clone to improve or prolong the original human's life? I think we already do kind of versions of that, but when it's the time frame on completion becomes quite accelerated, then it becomes much more of an issue, because I'll just show you where we're going. We're going down to this little viewpoint right here, and we're going to look over there as we discuss these issues. A little more caution in this little section, because not going to happen, knock wood, God forbid, but if you pitch it here, as you can see, you're going to have a bad day. So we're not going to pitch it. We're going to, with caution and grace and urbane debonair that is our norm, we're going to get right to this cliff edge here. And yeah, it's nice. It's dangerous, which kind of gets my Irish up a little bit, I guess. Yeah, okay, let's focus here. Yeah. Gratuitous cliff upshot. There's obvious benefits to the exercise I'm involved in, the fresh air, the views, everything else. So I've met some pleasant hikers while I've been here as well, but there's a joy as well also to that feeling of being really glad you decided to do something. And I'm really glad I decided to do this, to come here. And again, I'll be back. Looks like the trail goes down there. I'm not, but looks like it does. Glad I came. You know, I thought there was a small dark animal behind me there. You know what may be an incredible moment, hopefully will be an incredible moment. Okay, it's not now, but if I have the camera rolling like I do right now, and I find the megalith, I get first visual. I haven't. I'm gonna explore the hell out of that thing before I say a word about it. Because with all of them, you can get inside. So yeah, I think it'd be an incredible moment if I'm doing my bit here and I kind of go, oh, there it is. Wow, let's go check that out. I won't say anything, but I'll show you what I'm talking about here. Are clones allowed to clone themselves? Two clones have a kid. Can clones be soldiers? if a clone amasses wealth, what happens with the inheritance circumstance? Do we impose parameters on that? Or if you kill a clone, car accident, anyway, what are the legalities there? Intentional or not, right? What if a clone wants to get a vasectomy? Or an abortion? What about addiction issues with clones? You get a clone causing all this grief on society because of hard drug addiction. Do the same rules apply with regards to dealing with them? What about if a clone kills another clone? And how much is intent a factor in consequences? If the clone thought it was killing a human, is that a different circumstance than if a clone knows it's killing another clone? What about if a clone isn't aware that it's a clone, thinks it's a human, and is behaving in that manner? So it's essentially not of its right mind. What then of consequences? So in the movie Blade Runner, the first one, Harrison Ford is a replicant. He's a clone. And the viewer isn't aware of that necessarily. I may have gone the wrong way here. That's okay, because we kind of did this before. You see another way down there? You gotta go past the... I'm not going back down. We'll go this way. So Harrison Ford in Blade Runner is a replicant. And he's not aware of it necessarily, and neither is the viewer. So his behavior is viewed and treated a certain way by the powers that be based on that, and we have an indication that this is where we're going. He then subsequently, eventually, becomes aware of what he is. That's where we were going if that didn't go right. And that's how Blade Runner progresses. The director of Blade Runner, Ridley Scott, at one point sort of announced, I guess you'll call it, that he's in fact a replicant. But my thinking at the time was, it's not really Ridley Scott, the director of the film's place, to declare that. It's Philip K. Dick, the science fiction writer of the novel that the film is based on, who gets to definitively declare that one way or another. We're backtracking on the trail here. If you find out you're a replicant, what does that do to your psyche? I'm not. Of course, I would say that. If I knew that I was, I'd say I wasn't. But... no, really though. If you find out you're a replicant, how are you, proceeding?